All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? We got a pretty active pre-market so far, so usually a good sign. That momentum is still kind of looming around. We can go through the scans. Let's see here. On the scan, we got AGRI. What else? We got AGRI. MNPR, this is what I'm looking at now. AGRI is a little bit too far off the highs now. Yeah, it's quite a ways off the high. It's also a very cheap stock. It's going to be, if it does move, it's going to be a tight halt bands since it's closed yesterday around 20 cents. MNPR also going to be very tight halt bands because it closed around 35 cents. So it's going to be like 15-cent halt bands. It's quite possible we break $1 today, but is this something that I want to trade? If this is the only thing moving, then I would trade it, but I prefer not to trade it since I don't like the risk. I'm profitable on these types of stocks, but the risk seems to be a lot higher because that buying that dip into a halt down is catastrophic for me. So if I can avoid that on these types of stocks, then usually I'm green, but it's just avoiding that sometimes is tough. So we did get that break of 1 here on MNPR. Interesting. Seems like my tape is a little bit laggy here. I wonder if what my internet speed is. It's not terrible. Pretty good, actually. Maybe my latency can improve. My upload speed's kind of crap. Well, looks like we're moving up here to 110. Yeah, these types of stocks, this is going to be probably the time to trade at MNPR because at the open there's going to be lots of halts. There's going to be lots of halts. My ping isn't actually too bad. I think it's just in my head. So hopefully everyone had a great weekend, rested up, got some mental distance from the market, and is completely reset for this week. Hopefully we have another hot week. Doesn't look like anything's too obvious yet. MEDS as well was another one. Let me just take a look at that. Okay, this one, not the best volume profile, not consistent volume. It looks like, you know, right now it looks like we're fading with low volume. But these have all been former names that we've traded before. MEDS, I've traded this before many times. Looks like we had a nice move back here, back in here, back in here. Looks like we're finally topping out here at 17. So it clears out some highs. And I don't know. I don't know if this one's going to be the best one to look at, since the volume profile is low. I'll put an alert here over 14. If we can break 14, I'd be interested. MNPR, like I said, if this is the only thing moving, then I would trade it. But we have some other potential opportunity. SPRC has potential as well. This one also has a history of making nice moves. Does not have a history of holding its highs though. And that's definitely for sure. But we topped out there at what, 1050? Looks like we cleared out some highs. I don't know. I don't know about this one either, actually. The daily chart is not the best. Daily chart is not the best. It gives the long traders not a lot of conviction about this stock holding its highs and continuing higher. And it gives shorts a lot of conviction that this is going to dump like every other day that it's had, except this one day. So it's like 9 out of 10 times it pops up, it flushes right back down. So I think shorts are going to be a little aggressive on SPRC. But if we can hold, possibly curl up, this could be, you know, another one of those times where it does open up and go parabolic as well. So all right, so we have SPRC, MNPR, AGRI, SPRC, BFRI was the other one, BFRI. Oh, this one looks like a round trip here. Not the best chart. It does have news, but some sort of restructuring agreement. Not really interested in it. Round trip. SPRC, let's see this one again. I think there was news on this. CISPARC, something. CISPARC and Clearmind continue to strengthen international patent portfolio with next generation classic psychedelic based compounds. Okay, so it does have news. 14, less than 1 million share float on this stock. LUNR, is that what you're calling out? Let's see. I think this one's a little bit larger float. Yeah, it already looks like a little bit of a larger float. Yeah, this one could be good to trade for you guys who like to trade larger float stocks. Let me take a look at the float on this one. $17.5 million, so a little bit on the larger end that I like to trade, but if it does have good volume, I would trade it if it starts to open up. MNY. Yeah, this one doesn't look that good. Also seems like a larger float stock. Consolidating under VWAP. The only thing looking good right now is MNPR. SPRC is kind of consolidating near the lows, so that's not going to be interesting right now. I want to wait for something to prove itself, because since there's so many stocks popping up, they're all not going to run at once. So at the open, you know, you might get like, we may not know what the obvious stock is. So there's going to be high risk when you're first you know, choosing which stock to trade at the open, because you may not pick the one that is going to open up. And if you're trading, you know, big size and you're not really waiting for the clear winner, you know, you could be you know, trading the wrong stock, the stock that has maybe a lot more selling pressure than some of the other ones. So I really want to wait for the obvious stock. I want to wait for something to really show itself first before I trade aggressively. Right now, MNPR seems to be the one, but this is not going to be pretty at the open because of all this halting. All the halting is going to happen. I mean, it could still make a decent move, but it's going to be a lot more sitting on your hands from the halts versus actual trading. Volume profile, pretty decent. News. Receives clearance to commence phase 1 dosimetry trial of MNPR, ZR, and advanced cancers. MNPR. 6.5 million share float. Pretty low float, and there's a low stock price, so it can churn the shares a lot very fast, a lot faster than a larger price stock. Looks like we have potential dilution. Yeah, potential shelf or at the market offerings. All right, let's take a look here on the daily. So we're up at $1.10. So we're up at $1.10. So it looks like we're hitting the resistance there at 110. If we break 110 and we're strong, we have that potential up to, what is this? Maybe 120, 130. Maybe up to 175. Have you guys done any pre-market trading? Looks like MNPR wants to curl back up for the break of 110. I think I might trade this. Ugh. Nice. That could have been a nice 5-cent breakout from that entry there at 107. See if they hold up here and continue. I hope I'm not rusty. Sometimes when you get a really long weekend like this, sometimes I'm a little rusty versus refreshed. I did review my film a little bit, not as much as I could have. Wow, 100,000 share bid there. Wow. If you saw that level 2, there's 100,000 shares right there at 110 or 106 or something like that. That's crazy. When you see a bid like that, a lot of the longs, they like to front run that order. And then you see all the orders coming through. You can get a nice quick pop when the market exposes that order. And then you can get a nice quick, in this case, it was 5 or 10 cents. Looks like it's coming back down. Maybe we're going to fill that order, that 100,000 share order. I don't think we filled it. We just saw it on the level 2. Okay, coming down 108. 109. $107. Maybe we did fill that order. I thought it was at 107. There it is, 108, 123,000 shares, which is like 150 grand dollar amount. 135,000. Looks like it's getting filled here. Oh, looks like maybe someone wants to front run this again. This is very good for your tape reading skills. So if you guys can look at this level 2, you guys can get a good idea of what I'm looking at here. 109,000 there still at 108. So it looks like since we're kind of not filling that order, there's a lot of people that are front running this order here. So they could get another pop. So what I would do there is get in at 109 and use that order as a mental backstop. So that's my stop loss then. If I see that order start getting filled, like right now, I want to be selling into that order. And then before you get that big flush, and sometimes you can catch the low of this candle because now everyone's stopping out. You want to be the one buying the panic dip, and then maybe you can actually make money on that panic flush. So it looks like we did fill that order there. All right, nice bounce here. Happy Mustache. Gray Beard Happy Mustache. Very nice name. I assume you have a gray beard and a happy mustache. I need to work on my facial hair growing skills. I just don't have the genes. It just doesn't come in full. Doesn't come in thick. It's just like a patchy mess. So I just shave it every couple days. Looks like we're breaking 115 here, up to 116, 117. Be careful at the open, guys, with MMPR. We're likely going to see a halt on the first 1 minute candle, either to the upside or to the downside. So be very careful. It's going to be tight halt bands because, as we know, any stock that's closed below 75 cents the previous day will have tight halt bands, around 15 cents. So just be careful, especially if you get caught in a halt down, it's a high likelihood chance that there's a huge downside risk, especially when you have a stock like this that is up, what is it, up 200%, 260%. You get caught in a halt down with this, you could be looking at like 30% loss, 20-30% loss or more. We did see that on GXAI on Friday. A lot of people got caught on that halt down. So just be wary. You know, MNPR. Even on the halt up, you know, it's not even guaranteed when you catch a halt up, which is also another reason why I hate trading halts, stocks like this. Because you can even catch a halt up thinking that, oh wow, it's going to the moon and it's going to open up lower. It's happened all the time. It happens all the time. Catch a halt up and it opens up lower and you're like, what the heck, man? Like, you thought you had a great trade and it turns out to be a loss. So, you know, MNPR, it's gonna be hectic. MNY, yeah, I was looking at MNY. Problem with this one is going to be a larger float. I think we said 17 million. And consolidating under VWAP. Let's see here. I don't see any news on it. I mean, it's still holding up relatively from the previous days. So, you know, it's definitely still in play. However, for me, I'm going to want to wait for a strong hold of this level and a continuation. The only thing I don't want to see is a rejection of this level here of VWAP or this previous high. I want to see a strong breakout of this pivot, you know, entering into the territory of 420, 430, and then looking for, you know, hold of this level and a continuation to the high. The last thing I want to see is an attempt breakout of 380 and then a flush all the way back down to like 320. You know, I want it to hold its dips and, you know, provide a nice, you know, 20 cent, 30 cent breakouts on MNY. That's how I'm going to know if it's strong. But, you know, I'll keep it on the side chart. But for right now, you know, it has to prove itself. You know, a lot of these stocks here still have to prove itself. You know, MEDS, you know, not really looking too good so far. AGRY consolidating even lower. SISI still consolidating lower. SPRC volume getting light, thin, and consolidating near the lows. The only thing that's looking good right now that's obvious is MNPR. So, but we could be getting into that territory as well where, you know, we're up so much now pre-market that, you know, we're going to see an excessive selling at the open. We may see the attempt red to green. Maybe we see a completion and like a continuation with the red to green, but it's never guaranteed. But again, it's going to be tight halt band. So definitely it's going to be another element than just trading price action. It's going to be another element of risk and reward, which is going to be trading around those halts. Sometimes they can be great. You know, if you catch a halt, trade higher. Sometimes they can be not so great because you try to catch a dip after a nice, you know, pop, and then it ends up halting down, and then you're losing, like, there goes your entire day. You know, you guys can probably already tell I've been in that story so many times that, you know, I'm just sick of it. You know, at some point, you know, sometimes I'm just like, you know, I don't even want to fucking trade these types of stocks anymore, just because the stress of just trading around these halts is just insane. And sometimes it happens so quick. It's just like an instant. It's like an instinctual, because the way I trade is like so fast and like I want to catch quick dips that like my instinct is to, okay, I see a nice flash dip, I want to buy it. But with something like this, you can't do that because the risk is humongous when you do that. That's happened so many times. Where in one situation, if the halt bands were not there, the tight halt bands were not there, would end up being a green trade. But with the halt bands being there, you know, I ended up taking, you know, a massive loss, even though it could have been a good trade if it was a different stock. So you have to kind of pivot your risk management skills on something like this. You don't have to adjust your strategy entirely, but you want to give it another element of risk, risk management. Sometimes I like to wait for the stock to bottom out first instead of buying the first flush down. Maybe wait for the first flush. Let me see that we can get away from the bottom ends of this halt band. So let's say like the halt lowers $1, and so we flush down to like $1.01. I don't want to buy at $1.01 because the risk of initially buying there and catching that halt down is just too high. But, you know, let's say if we hit down to a bottom one and we start forming a bottoming tail and it starts to hit, okay, 103, $1.04, $1.03, $1.05. Okay, then I'll get in at $1.03, $1.04, $1.05, risking break even, looking to see if I can get that next leg up. Versus, you know, immediately just buying just the dip down, which I usually do at the low ends of the candles, which I usually do. Instead of doing that, you know, I could be a little bit more patient off those dips, so I can avoid that risk of catching that halt down. So that's kind of how, you know, I'm going about, you know, managing my risk with it to avoid catching these halt down trades. But, you know, it's also so risky. You know, if something else is popping up, I'm throwing this out. You know, I don't even want to trade it. But for right now, you know, this is the only thing moving. So I'm going to be watching MNPR here for the open. Again, trading is very risky. Most people do lose money. Don't trade with money you're not willing to lose. You know, all information here is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Be wary of scammers and impersonators. I will never ask or trade your money or ask for personal information. There have been reports of fake Triad trading accounts. But yeah, MNPR is going to be the one here I'm going to be watching. Hopefully, maybe something else can pop up, so I don't have to trade this junk. But you know, we do have, yeah, BFRI. I don't even think I have this up on the scan. Yeah, BFRI is kind of curling, but we do have that huge flush before, so that might come into play. I don't know if longs are going to be very confident after seeing that flush from 240 to $1 a share after 4 or 5 minutes. But MNPR is going to be the one I'm watching. We're already breaking 150. Okay, so this thing's already up 350%, pushing 400%. So traders definitely going to be watching this one. So hit that like button here for me. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. And I'll catch you guys on the recap later today. All right, good luck and